Cusanelli.
Yay!
Thank you, Malcolm. The PC Party, Christine Cusanelli from Calgary.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Christine Cusanelli, and I am your Progressive Conservative candidate for Calgary-Currie. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, and I'm a school principal. I'm a real-life leader, and for me, serving families has always been central to my commitment to a life of public service. I model real-life leadership in my work within Calgary Catholic School District, my volunteer work for women in need, the homeless, and within my school and church communities. I have a beautiful 13-year-old daughter, Victoria, who is active in dance and school sports. She's an honor roll student, but she did struggle in elementary with her reading. Her father and I collaborated with the school district to ensure that she received the supports necessary to achieve. It is because of the current stability within the education system and the open dialogue, that school districts have with our government that Victoria was able to overcome the barriers to her academic success. Her future is filled with promise. And this is the promise that all of our children deserve and the advocacy that I intend to bring to the legislature. Our Progressive Conservative government has demonstrated its commitment to preparing our children not just for today, but for tomorrow. And this is not just idle talk. Our Progressive Conservative government has pledged $1.2 billion to build 50 new schools and another $1.2 billion to renovate and upgrade schools. $1.2 billion is the same amount, by the way, that another party says it will render in $300 giveaways.
Shame.
I know firsthand the challenge of helping our aging parents when their care needs differ. My father was cared for in a facility for patients with dementia, and my mother has terminal cancer. It is critical that we continue to offer options for seniors that allows them to age together with their spouse, near friends and family, with dignity and respect. In my work as a principal, I have demonstrated proven leadership. I was appointed to the principal at St. Michael's School, and I was asked to improve a declined climate and culture, increase enrollment, and improve achievement test results. I was also responsible for implementing 2 international baccalaureate programs in Calgary. They are the first of its kind, and in less than 4 years, our Alberta Education Satisfaction Survey results from parents, students, and staff improved from scores when I began in the 50s and 60s to over 90% in all areas of satisfaction. Our enrollment at St. Michael's continues to grow with a successful implementation of our international baccalaureate programs, and our achievement tests have also shown significant improvement, which tells us our programs are thriving and children are learning. In short, I have proven and showed that I have provided vision, action, and change that is measurable and sustainable. I will do the same for you in legislature. As you know, Alberta is a prosperous place, with thousands of people moving here each year. Alison Redford's Progressive Conservatives have laid out a plan to return Alberta to a surplus within 3 years. It does this with no tax increases or service cuts in a budget that is responsible and realistic. It invests in the necessary infrastructure like roads, schools, and hospitals, and maintains spending on the important social programs that Albertans need and expect. I always strive to keep a positive note, but allow me to digress for a moment. Since the campaign began, Albertans have seen more of the Wild Rose budget plans. I need to let you know that I find them disturbing. They say they will balance a budget in a year, and that's possible, I guess, if you stop building schools, roads, and hospitals, or if you take a hatchet to the civil service, firing thousands of teachers and doctors and nurses. I mentioned the $300 payment earlier. People I meet in Calgary-Currie say their priorities are health and education. They want a government to invest in these priorities, not in cynical vote buying. One more point on this year's budget. The maximum monthly benefit for assured income of the severely handicapped clients has been increased by $400 per month. Your PC government cares about all Albertans. Our campaign office was visited by a man named Al who wanted us to thank our Premier for the increase in AISH. He told us that for the first time he wasn't scrambling for change.
The next question goes to Christine Cusanelli. The recent budget indicates a 7% increase in spending. How can the PCs possibly balance the budget in 3 years when again the same kind of costs are there?
Again, our government is committed to ensuring that we have a priority. Our priorities are this: health and education. We are looking at making sure that we have a balanced budget by looking at the revenues that we're pulling in. It's going to be no different than what our Wild Rose counterpart is saying. However, I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be difficult. I think rendering budgets and having them balance is difficult. As a school principal, I have to balance 4 different budgets. I balance our school budget that comes from the school district. I balance our parents' budgets that come from an association, as well as our school council, and also a separate budget that comes from fees, and then another budget on top of that. This is not going to be something that is simple, and it requires a government that has the experience and the background to be able to look at where the revenues are coming from and where the output is going to be happening. Where are our expenditures going? Our government is committed to an outcomes-based budget. That is going to mean that we look at where are we spending our money in the next 3 years. We're going to be planning, not just spending haphazardly and deciding afterwards how we're going to react. And that's been our problem in the past. I think we all know that. Doing this in an outcomes-based manner is how our government is going to plan for the future. Our progressive conservative government intends to identify the outcomes that Albertans want in all of the different areas. And as I've said before, healthcare and education are at the top of our list. For us, what we plan to do is provide a stable multi-year funding education and for municipalities, as we do for healthcare, and plan for more than a year at a time. To give you a bit of an indication what this means, is for the public sector, our ability to plan is probably the most important factor when trying to ensure that we are accountable for our spending. Again, I'll give you an example true for myself in administration. When our schools are given the ability to know that 3 years ahead of time, this is what our budget is going to look like, we're not going to be planning to hire teachers before a budget has been dropped. That's really important to schools. The other piece to this is as I mentioned, the outcomes-based budget plan. When we are looking through the 3-year plan, we are going to be in conversation with government. Districts will be in conversation with government. Hospitals will be in conversation with government. Public services are going to be in conversation with government to say, this is where we need to spend our money. We will do that in conversation with Albertans. And by that, we'll be able to say, these are the priorities that we can set in Alberta. And that is going to reduce spending, and that's how we're going to be able to support our public sector. Thank you.
Your last comment.
My final comment?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all very much for being here today. I'm very impressive to see such a wonderful turnout, especially on a long weekend. I'd like to thank you, the organization Just Vote, for preparing this space for us. Much appreciated, to give us an opportunity to learn about the different platforms that we have and really hear and understand what this means to Albertans. I've been hearing a lot from people at the doors that they're not really sure between who they're going to be voting for. And I will leave you with this. I think that our Progressive Conservative Party has offered 40 years of responsible government. And yes, sometimes we have made errors. But we're standing before you today, and I stand before you here today, to tell you that it is my goal, it is my intention to advocate on your behalf to ensure that we have a sustainable economy that is going to serve your children and your grandchildren. I look at the wild rose right now, and I have to say, once again, I am concerned. And I think many people at the doors are concerned. And if you think about a wild rose, the rose itself, very pretty. Danielle Smith really presents as somebody who is soft on the outside. But if we get too close to that bush, my fear is that we are going to get thorny. And at that point, we can see probably a lot of bloodlet in our public sector. Thank you.